to pay for the flowers. Thank you very much, Gurbir. Thank you very much, all the friends who gave me this opportunity to be here amongst you. Honorable Governor, Shri Vidyasagar Raoji, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, my compliments and congratulations to all the award winners. Truly a proud moment when one receives an award. More so because while it's an encouragement for many people who are felicitated, who receive these awards, it's also a great encouragement for those who don't receive the award this year. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the award winners were here last year when the awards were given out and possibly worked their way with the greater enthusiasm, greater zeal, and a delightful moment to share with all the award winners. My heartiest congratulations, compliments to each and every one of you. I don't know all the names as yet, but clearly Mr. Nainan is an outstanding star of the journalist world, and really a proud moment that and most deserved moment that he got the award. I know Siddharth Vardarajan is going to receive an award for probably the best startup or a new company in the field, but I haven't had the opportunity to see all the other award winners. But my compliments and best wishes for the future, both for the award winners and for all the other journalists present here, not present here, who will all take back a greater deal of enthusiasm in their work going forward. My apologies also for not being able to join you earlier. I had mentioned to Gurbir, Parliament is in session, and today a whip was issued that all of us have to be present in the House. At 3:30, the House got adjourned, and then we had some meetings to discuss what should be done going forward. And by the time I reached the airport, it was 5 o'clock. So this is the fastest I could get here straight from the airport. But truly delightful that I could be here before Mr. Rao left. More so because as I was thinking about the importance of the subject and the importance of this very important evening, it came to my mind that it's not only a one-way traffic. It's not that the journalists alone are the messengers who are being shot, as I was told was the subject of the evening. And it's not as if one section of society is pitted against the journalists or journalism as a whole. I think all of us will have to reflect on the overall standards of society that is reflected in the kind of politics of the day, in the kind of journalism of the day, in the kind of public work of the day. And after all, it will be an influence of the entire society that will be reflected in whatever one reads in the papers, whatever one writes in the papers, in the magazines, or on 24/7 breaking news television channels. And in some sense, it's possibly time for all of us, stakeholders in the system, to sit and reassess our own positions, our own roles. Clearly, journalists and journalism have a very important role. It's one of the pillars of democracy which we all respect, which we all look up to. I personally, in my work, very much value constructive criticism which comes out of a lot of transparency we have tried to bring in the working of particularly my sectors and the government as a whole. And wherever, for example, just to share with you a recent incident, The Hindu, which I believe has just launched in Mumbai, wrote a scathing piece about the rural electrification work that I was doing. And I was extremely delighted when I read that, because clearly that meant that somebody had taken the pains to read what was being given in the mobile app that we had put forward. All the transparency that we had brought out through the mobile app was being studied by somebody. And I've been on record on more than one occasion, possibly on at least 7 or 8 occasions, appealing to friends from the media, from business, from the public at large, in remote places in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, in public platforms at chambers of commerce, at programs of media houses, where I've appealed to the people that all this information, this wealth of information that we give out, is for you to hold us accountable, to monitor our performance. And it delights me when these nuggets of feedback come from the journalists, which help us evolve and learn what needs to be right-sized, what needs to be done better. In fact, I remember one article in a newspaper about 4 or 5 months ago, which had talked of certain uninhabited villages. I honestly didn't even know that whole villages have got uninhabited over the last few years. We go by the figures that the state government gives us. But when that was flagged off in a newspaper article, I actually first told my office that we should felicitate the journalists for raising this very important issue. Of course, the office was very hesitant. They said, if we start felicitating journalists, then every day you'll have only negative articles written about you. But the fact is that from that we came to know that many villages over the years, which at one point may have been census or revenue villages, are no more inhabited. Possibly the water level got too low, farming was not anymore economical. And then we got our officers to go and study all the villages, and we found over 400 villages which had become uninhabited. When my young engineers, and I have about 500 young engineers, barely out of college, most of them from the rural areas of Jharkhand, of Orissa, of West Bengal, areas where electricity is a matter of great concern. When these engineers go and monitor the work of the state governments, I tell them, bring out whatever are your findings straight onto the app. Let the people see it. Let the people know what's happening transparently. And let them monitor the work so that the pressure comes on the entire ecosystem on what needs to be done better, what can be corrected. And in that sense, the role of journalists becomes that much more important. But the one feature that has often agitated me personally also, and I'm sure is a matter on which possibly politics and journalism has had some friction, has been the matter of credible data and verification of whatever is being reported. Very often you find reports which are on erroneous data or on data which has not been correctly sanitized. That's the kind of effort, and I've said this also on some occasions, where I've said research work. I believe at one point of time, editors used to assiduously read each and every report and see that the data points are correct. Over the years, possibly the time constraints, the fact that a lot more data comes onto the desk, the fact that the time to print between the filing of a story may have got much reduced. The fact is that we are not finding the kind of data crunching and the kind of accuracy in the data which one would expect for exacting standards of journalists to be available, to be on record, to be verified before the story is put out in the news channels, in the newspapers. I think that would be one area of reflection for all of us. If it is the government giving out data, we have to be much, much more careful in what we are putting out for its accuracy. If we find something is inaccurate, we should have the courage to be able to say, yes, we are wrong on this one. We correct ourselves. Similarly, and to that extent, I have found very good traction whenever I have pointed out any data inaccuracy to any newspaper or any news channel. I have got a fair share of rectification. I've got a fair share of response in terms of setting the facts straight. But I do think if instead of only looking at 24/7 breaking news or sensationalizing each issue, one could look at a far greater degree of responsive journalism in terms of our data points being more correct, in terms of our data being sanitized and corrected and accurate to the degree that nobody can contest us, will truly help us in engaging with people in public life, engaging with governments, and giving confidence to the public at large about the credibility of what they read, about the credibility of what they see on television. I do understand that at times the fear of somebody else picking up that story may encourage some people to just push it out, dekh lenge baad mein jo hoga, ek baar to paper mein dal do. But I think the process needs a little bit of a rethink, and if all of us get together and work in that same spirit of trust with each other and taking data points more seriously, I think we will see far greater degree of response to the journalist's effort, far greater degree of respect for the journalist's effort. The other small point I have often thought about, reflected on, And it's not about one set of journalists. It's across the board. It's across the newspaper world. It's somewhat like what Mr. Nainan just said about journalism being tagged along with economic interests. And along with that, there's the other element of journalists being opinionated in a particular direction and not willing to take an objective view of things or look at the entire holistic picture before presenting the facts or before presenting the story to the people at large. I think it may be great for this nation if we could once again get down to the era of dispassionate, objective reporting. Over the years, almost in every television debate, in every article, one straightaway looks at attributes or motives or agendas hidden behind the article or behind the articulation of views on a show, on a debate. I think it's a sad day that today one cannot look at any piece of news completely objectively with the confidence that there is no hidden agenda or hidden opinion. It's not necessarily every time there will be an agenda, but certainly a lot of opinions get cast into the reporting of news. It's somewhat like, if one was to look into mythology, the difference between Narad and Sanjay, the charioteer of Dhritarashtra. Narad was always known to be naughty, adding little spice to whatever he was reporting, going from one to the other, and with a lot of extraneous considerations brought in, taking information flow from one place to the other. Whereas Sanjay was considered a straight reporter of whatever he saw, sitting on that chariot to Dhritarashtra. Now in that, at some point of time, Dhritarashtra would get very unhappy with Sanjay for reporting everything very accurately, at times inconvenient to his own boss. But the accuracy of reporting of Sanjay has always been well recognized when one looks at the Mahabharata or looks at mythology or Indian mythology going back in ages. So in that sense, one will have to take a call whether journalism will perforce look at individual opinions or will look at a more dispassionate view and let objectivity dictate what is being reported. Certainly economic interests are there. I appreciate what Mr. Nainan has said. I rarely know of any paid site which is able to self-sustain or be able to really get revenues. And in fact, in today's day of online reporting, I don't think the online sites have too much of advertising revenue also, as yet. So clearly for that kind of internet age reporting, one will have to think how one can create credible revenue models, whether linking it up with news magazines, news channels, newspapers. I don't know. I've not yet gone through great detail of the financials of any internet-based news reporting site. But it's a very important point that has been flagged off, and it doesn't remain only about the internet. It's whether it's magazines, whether it's newspapers, a lot of linkages to reporting and economic interests have been discussed, have been talked about. Many are known to many of us in this room. And it's unfortunate that that kind of unbiased reporting that is truly reflective of the power of journalism is probably something we miss these days. It would be great to have that journalism, that streak of journalism back in the market. It would be great to have some more humor into public life. That's the last point on which I will end my little intervention. I actually had flagged it off with the Prime Minister one day before the elections, about 2013. I said much earlier, when I was much younger, I used to see you very humorous, able to crack jokes, take a punt on some issue. I don't see that humor anymore. And sadly, his point was that today, if one was to even pass a comment in humor, the chances of being misunderstood are extremely severe. So that humor in public life, that humor in journalism, the fun that we would have looking at ourselves being made into a cartoon by R.K. Lakshman or by all Mario and all the wonderful cartoonists of the day, I think that humor in public life and that humor in both journalists' reporting and in politicians' behavior or relationship, I think that is a missing link which if we could reinstate, which if we could get back, would truly make this engagement of people in public life, of journalists, media owners, all of us, much more useful for society, much more useful for India as a whole. And I think a little bit more of an open government, a little bit more of an open journalistic approach will truly set the agenda for a stronger and much more vibrant journalistic world and a much more responsive government and a much more responsive public service role that some of us are performing. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been lovely being with all of you, and I wish the function great success. Thank you.